I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Novelette Aldred today. Novelette is a psychotherapist and clinical supervisor registered with the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy. Thank you very much, Novelette.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you very much. And thank you for your support in getting us to this particular point today. And to all that are listening, good morning to you all. I hope it is a good morning. Sometimes we say it, but it isn't really. But I hope it's a good one for you and that it will get better as the day goes on. So that's who I am, Novelette Aldred. And this topic is much bigger than me. Managing uncertainty. It's not possible to manage uncertainty. However, there are ways around it. And as I look at the title, I think of managing the wind. That is bigger than us as well, but sometimes we can prepare for it and see how we go. So here, I don't know if there's anything I should say about me. I'll say it a bit later. So what is uncertainty? Sorry, what is certainty? Being at ease with, or being sure about something, being assured of, knowing and believing. Sometimes we know something or we believe something and it's certain in our minds, but not necessarily to anybody else. And so this is about being certain. So here we have a chair. You look at the chair, if the four legs seem to be intact, it looks as if you could sit there safely. That is one thing about certainty, and that it could take us, take our weight and protect us for a duration of time. The next, if we go back to where we said being assured of, knowing and believing in, this is a path that if we were on this path, we'd hope that it would be taking us to somewhere and hopefully it would be the right path. This one is the only one, so whatever's on it will be for us to manage and to take steps. So what is uncertainty? Uncertainty is not really knowing, not having a grasp of something. And it's something that we are unable to be sure of. It is also having no assurance of something. And it's being uncomfortable. So if you were to put your hand into a lucky dip bag, you know you can pick something out, but you're not sure what it is. You dip your hand in, you take it out, it may be something that you're not very comfortable with, and so on and so forth. So being uncertain of things. Here are a few things that we could be uncertain, would cause us to feel unsure about. Now, if we look at the last picture, it's a tree. There'll be things we're not sure about. However, if after the wind, all the leaves go and the weather changes, there are possibilities that this tree will become green again. Here is a boat. And this reminds me of a little song we used to sing, and it says, "My boat is so small and the ocean's so wide." So that can cause us to be unsure. you're good at it, you believe that you'll get to the other side. But a lot of uncertainties there, especially for people who like boats, don't actually swim. I won't boats. So how did we get here? How did I get to this point? Getting here today, right here and right now. I was asked if I would do this webinar. And I said, yes, I'd love to. And the date, how about the 15th of October? Okay, and all was going great. But just before I tell you how I got here, I just want to take you on a 10-month journey, which led me from what I class as certainty to uncertainty. In December last year, we booked a holiday to celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary in August in Morocco, a country we'd never been to before. This was with family and friends, 16 of us there. And we made loads and loads of preparations. On the way, we had January, the new year. We had February. It's all about lots of talk, lots of planning, etc. In March, I had a mammogram. Many of you will be familiar with that. And it all came back absolutely. Carried on living my life. Now, I know there'll be some of you on here who perhaps just been diagnosed with ovarian cancer, because this is the supportive organisation of Overcome. And some of you have probably been on a journey for a very long time. And there may be some of you on here for whom it's not the first time of having cancer. And you may well know this journey very well. However, in June, we went to Trinidad because it was somewhere we've never been before. And one of the things we thought about in this our 50th year of marriage is that we'd like to do 50 different things. So we've started off with lots of things. Got back July, I recognised something in my breast that was not proper. So I went off to GP, went off to the hospital, biopsies and loads of tests. And in August, 2nd of August to be precise, we had the news that I had breast cancer. And our plans continued. Lots and lots going off in my head. A bit like a great fireworks display. Thoughts going through. However, it's not my very first time of having something seriously wrong with me. But this was slightly different. And I remembered some of the things that helped me then. And I remembered some of the things that did not help me. So we went off to Morocco, and came back in August, and lots of tests. Everything was being fast forwarded to September, when I had my first cycle of chemo. And here we are in October. That is a quick journey from all the wonderful plans that we were making, all the things that we were going to do. Not everything is off the plans. Some things are just on hold. And that's what took me to here. And that was when I was really grateful that I said yes to doing this webinar, not knowing that the plans worked out in such a way that it would be real for me, not just a therapeutic exercise, but for me, this is absolutely real. And I do want us to pause for a moment whilst you reflect on your journey. In this pause, I'm going to do something what I needed to embrace, something uncertain made it certain. This is me. So as you reflect on your journey, and you reflect on your own uncertainty, I just want you to know that there was something, although I could not control in terms of losing my hair, and I know there are ways not to lose your hair, I decided to cut mine and get to the place where all the bits that fell out, shave, and for me to embrace what is now me. And I know that some of you would have been journeying for many, many years. So I would like you to feel good, if it's possible, or at least accept this is where you are on your journey. As I was preparing for this, and I thought, managing uncertainty, it's really not so possible. However, I then remembered that we live with uncertainty every day. Every day there are things that face us or things we're just not sure about. However, this kind of uncertainty that we're talking about may be slightly different, and yet you may well be able to manage it like how you have managed other uncertainties. So, one of the things I'd like us to think about is what is important to you? And do you need to consider anyone else? Sometimes you have support and sometimes you don't have support. So the question is, where does your support come from? And for you to think, who can you depend on? And who can you trust? In life, just because this is how life goes, sometimes there are people you can depend on, but you just cannot trust them. And sometimes there are people you can trust, you just cannot depend on them. And so we have these people, and for us to consider people in our lives who we may need to consider, or sometimes we have a lot of people who promise to support us as soon as they hear that you've got a diagnosis. Oh, anything you want, anytime, just call, right? Make a note of those people and see if they can fall into the category of someone you can depend on or someone you can trust. This is about your support. Sometimes we do a lot of giving out. Sometimes we need some to come back to us. And these are the things that are precious to us in terms of your jewelry box and precious items that we may have, and a treasure chest. And our lives are a little bit like these. You consider that who you are, you hold a lot of treasure within you, and you want to keep them safe. However, you may need to call on others to help you. First of all, help yourself the best you can. There are lots of relationships, all sorts of relationships, and just as the depiction here, people holding hands, is a demonstration of some kind of support or solidarity with. So the value of supportive relationships. There are many different types. So there are the acquaintances, there are friends, there are family, there are romantic partners, sexual partners, work colleagues, or situational relationships. There's one on here. There's one that's not on here, which is really a crucial one to me. And I have some friends who I normally have hydrotherapy with. But now, because of being on treatment, chemotherapy, I'm not able to join them. But there is one that I talk to regularly. So all of those relationships are with another, at least. Then we have the interpersonal relationship, which is a relationship that you have with yourself. And it's how to foster that relationship and how to be really in tune with yourself and allow yourself to be in this relationship and keep a good relationship with yourself. Sometimes you can hear me talking and questions, who are you talking to? Myself. Sometimes I need to have strong words with me. Sometimes I need to affirm me. Sometimes I need to encourage me. And sometimes I also dare myself to do something. But it's all because I have this thing going on within me all times. So an interpersonal relationship, sometimes if you're struggling with yourself, this is a time when I would say to somebody, find yourself a counsellor, find yourself a group, find yourself some way of getting in touch with yourself and staying in touch. And here is something that I'm hoping you might be able to use and find it useful as a bit of a tool. Ordinarily on webinars, it's a lot of information, lots of guidelines, lots of tips, lots of support. This is very different because I now class myself as one of being in that place where trying to manage uncertainty can become overwhelming at times. So I have here 7 circles. Right in the center, I say this is. And I'd like for you also to think of whilst going through any form of cancer treatment, preparation for, or even preparation beyond chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or any of the other newer forms of therapy, or even after surgery goes on. That these circles can help you to keep people close to you or far away from you. So here are 7 circles that you can use, and I'm beyond my words here. So you can use it to place people and things as close to you in the center or as far away from you in terms of trust and reliability. So some people may be outside your circles, all of them. Some people may be right on here next to you and then to you. So it's people and things. Things could be classed as work. Things could be classed as if you are also caring for somebody else. Things could also be classed as if you have pets who depend on you and you depend on them. So it's not just people, it is people and things. So be kind to yourself. So if you know somebody's a bit toxic, put them to first. Know what is in your control, things that you can do, and do what is possible. Refer to your circles for the impossible. So if you know somebody over here, say, who has an apartment that they rent out, or you want to go away and get away from them, then you may talk to that person, because it may not be so possible for you to go into a public place, particularly if you're having treatment. If you really want to be sick, or you want to go to somewhere that is really far, or if you know someone who's into the entertainment business, they might be able to help you with some tickets for something. Somebody who's a good cook might be able to do some batch cooking for you, and somebody who likes to just be with other people. Yeah, so it's about you. And refer to your circles for the impossible. Maybe somebody may be able to help you out with benefits, or help you to understand pensions, or things like those as the laws change. Okay, so that is something that you might find useful. You could also put your goals on here, things you'd like to achieve, places that you'd like to visit, etc., etc. So that would be there. So it's about relationship and it's about support. So the support to get you to a place where things can be done. This one, drink tea. I have, for me to help me on my journey, something what we call tea and chat. And tea and chat is online. So for the people I'd like to meet up with who I cannot meet up with, we set a time on a Zoom or on the WhatsApp call. We have tea together and we drink together, and we just nice for catch-ups. Do the same for the grandchildren, etc. So drink tea or whatever kind of tea you'd like. A whole host going on. It doesn't have to be tea. Other drinks are available. From today, one thing is certain. We cannot manage uncertainty. However, because we are all unique and can break down our own uncertainties into manageable chunks, then that's how we can help ourselves with uncertainty. Break it down to size so that you can do what is manageable for you. Call for help and drink tea. I work as a chaplain. Although I'm officially retired, I do some part-time work where I used to work full-time. And we have this, there's a quote, so I won't be quoting it because I can't remember it, but there's a quote, and I think it's from a famous monk who says, what happens when you get to the edge of the cliff and it appears as if there's no way out? And the answer came back, drink tea. So when you get to the place where you feel you really cannot take any more, or you cannot manage this, so decide who or what you need over a cup of tea. For many, prior to a cancer diagnosis, and for those beyond, it's a journey of one step. Didn't matter how you want to do something tomorrow. You just have to wait for tomorrow to come. We can deal with today. Sometimes you can only deal with a moment at a time. Let that do. And encourage yourself, pat yourself on the back for managing the one thing at a time. Be kind to yourself when you walk alone and when you walk with others. If your burden is enough for you, remember you don't have to take the time to manage somebody else's. Just yours, one day at a time. Now be best friend. This is where the interpersonal relationships really do come in. Be your best friend and do fun things. Adults think that they have to be adults all the time. Not every adult think that. But you're allowed to play. You're allowed to have fun. You're allowed to have good time. And it's not just for children. It's also for adults. So be your best friend. Do things for you. Fun things, crafty things, all sorts of things to occupy yourself. Here are some good words, good encouragement about being positive, taking it easy, enjoying life, getting outside. All of these things are really good for us. And other fun things that you do. For me, my fun thing is getting on a swing. I just love being on the swing. I go to a park, it doesn't matter the kind of park, as long as the swings are big enough to take me, I will have a swing. I enjoy it. I enjoy games, etc., etc. And when I have no one to play games with, I play with myself on the computer against the bots. I will do that. So for me, those are fun things for me. So be your best friend. Bit of a summary of some of the stuff we've touched on. We are managers of possibilities. Here is a mistake. So it says, we are planners of our futures. Uncertainties are a part of life, just for us to take on, and not what we choose for ourselves. Things that we would choose for ourselves are more certain, or things that are doing us more good. But nobody gets up and says, you know what, I think today I'm going to have a crash. No, we don't do that. We do things that are good. Normally, that's what our plans are. So do what is possible and refer to others for the impossibilities. Surround yourself with people and things you can trust, depend on. Know when to drink tea, when to call for help. And this when to call for help here are from the list of people who've promised to be with you, help you, call me, do the shopping, do that. Have a little look at your list and decide whether one of those are one you need to call on, or whether you need to call on somebody from the medical team, the support team, for the cancer treatment, whether in Macmillan, the hubs, or various things, whether it's time for you to call on them for help. Again, personal to me, yesterday, I reached out to the team to find out if our 3 daughters could be checked, to see if they would develop breast cancer, because that was something that was within me, something we talked about, and it was time to call, and that was the best place to call because they had the answer, and they could help. And the rest of time, I do drink a lot of tea, and I do find a lot of comfort sometimes just hugging a mug of whatever is there. That's all I can do for sometimes. Reminders. The first reminder, be kind to yourself. And then be your best friend. Talk and interact with positive and supportive people. Make plans to have fun. Here I say, put yourself in the diary as to when you would like something to happen that is fun, relaxing, I don't know, sharing, what have you. But you need to make plans for that. Share what information you choose with whom you choose. Leave space for friends or family to help in beneficial ways. Break down uncertainties into measurable chunks. Just remember, it is not selfish to care for you first. It is self-care. Even on the aeroplanes, when they give the safety announcements out, they say, always put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then on anybody who you are in charge of caring for, be they a child or elderly or somebody with a disability that you're looking after. You look after yourself first, and then you look after them. It means that you'll be in a better position once you've cared for yourself and looked after yourself, to care and look after someone else. This takes me to our session. Just want to say thank you very much for your time and your attention, all of you online. And I do thank the Overcome team trusting me to do this session with. I know it's not the usual with lots of information, in that I actually feel that even with a different type of cancer, I now feel an affinity with the team at Overcome in terms of the support they offer. And today, for me, it was a pleasure. I just want to tell you this though. I am in my week 3, which is my good week. All my week 3s are good weeks. So I was happy to do that today. Thank you. Over to Catherine and Rebecca. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you ever so much, Novelette. We really do appreciate your time today and for sharing your experiences and expertise on this topic. Thank you. Now, Novelette has kindly agreed to answer some of your questions today. So if you'd have any questions at all, please do feel free to pop them in the Q&A box or in the chat box, and we can read those out. Just having a quick look in the chat already, we have had a couple of comments that I will just share. So Novelette, when you were sharing your experiences around hair loss, we had a couple of comments came into the chat, one saying beautiful queen, and the second comment saying I did the same even though I hated losing my hair.
Thank you. you
Thank
want me
you
to say
very
something about this?
Yeah, if you'd like to, please do.
Okay, for the person who put that up, I have grown my locks. I've had 3 lots of locks in my lifetime. I'm 69 years old, and my locks, the last set of locks, have grown nearly to my knees. So for anybody with long hair, that was quite precious to me. So I had them plaited and had them chopped. So I have 4 long sets of plaits that, if I should ever need to have hair quickly, they could be turned into something of a wig or wigette, so that I could do that and go out. But the thought of somebody picking up my hair to say, "Is this yours?" horrified me. And so that was for me taking control of what I could manage. So, great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Novelette. Thank you. We have some questions that have come through, so I'll read some of those out. When I was first diagnosed, lots of people offered help, but as time has gone on, they have fallen away. How do I identify who to approach? I don't want to force a relationship.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I appreciate not wanting to force a relationship. However, I think if somebody offers, sometimes it could be out of not knowing what to say or feeling they need to do something. And I think it's one of those that whoever sort of got you a bit here at the heart, if you like, sometimes it's that bit of dare to try to see if you could depend on that person or make something of a relationship. One of the things to ask yourself is, to what benefit would that be to me? And if there's anything you know about that person, is this something of that person's character that I could live with? So you're now in the position where you need to make that choice. And normally when you say to somebody, "Can you help me?" majority of the people will feel that you've honored them by asking them, and it would be a privilege for them to help. If somebody cannot, then they'll say no, and that's fine. But sometimes we do have to take that little step of, this is what I would like, and then you can make that approach. Hopefully, then that will be successful because it's coming from you more so now than from the other person. And that will also be you taking control of that situation. You can always draw and redraw the lines if it's not quite what you intended it to be.
Thank you very much. Another question that's coming. Hi, I have a question for Novelette. You suggest to break down uncertainties into manageable chunks. Can you give an example?
Into manageable chunks. Well, I come from a community of advisors. No, self-appointed advisors, let's say, who feel they have really good handle on things and they know how to do things. So, for example, I was faced with, and very quickly it's, you'll have these many cycles of chemo, you'll have this, and you'll have surgery. And it was like, okay, that all sounds very big. Can you please tell me why you would do this, why you would do that, why you would do the other? That that's certain for somebody else, but it's uncertain for myself. So I had to do that to break that down into, okay, how can we manage that? The thought of going through chemo throws up lots of horror stories. You'll go through this, you'll have this, and you'll be unwell, and you'll be this, and you'll be that, and you will put on weight, and all of those kinds of things. So for me, I went from inside, like, so what is my immune system like? How can I avoid the nauseousness that I feel day in and day out? So what we did, we broke it down into food for medicine and what would help me, because I have a kind of thing about when I'm being sick. It's horrendous and what it takes out of me. So we brought that into a manageable chunk to help me to make sure that I'm not sick. So that was part of the treatment, something that I had to manage. The other thing that I manage is on my bad days, I'm not able to do certain things because the fatigue is horrendous. So what we did before, not knowing exactly, but it was a bit of trial. So we prepared meals that could be frozen for different things in terms of, I suffer with anemia. So there were things that was prepared to help me with my anemia, to help me with being sick. And I'd got chopped ginger. And I've learned to live a lot on ginger to help me with that. So it's what I can't manage the nauseousness. It will just come. But I can manage a little bit of it to help me in that way. And the same it is for, I'm very cautious about people coming to the house from any and anywhere. So we have a box of gloves, we have a box of masks, and we have antiseptic for your hands, antibacterial wipes, and we bought ourselves one of those temperature guns. So whilst I cannot stop germs, that's there, and I don't know who has what and who doesn't. But what I could do, I did what we could do on the inside to help us. I hope that goes some way to answer questions. You look at what you cannot do and then think about what you can do and who can help you to do the bits that you can't do.
Thank you very much. Do you have any advice around how to politely decline when those people that you want to distance yourself from, circle 7, want to try to support you?
I do, because I have. And some people are just too nosy. They offer to help. And the truth is, there's a motivation behind their help that they could spread somebody's business, if you like. Yes, I have had that, and I have said, and I don't know if you have somebody, person who's asked a question, I don't know if you have somebody who's a close friend or a family member that you know you can depend on. So the wording is, we have sorted that out. We've got that settled. We're on it with that one, that it is sorted. I've had people wanting to ask me things where I don't even know the answer to myself. And I've just said no. And I had somebody else who, from a kind of medical background, but very, very nosy. So I just said, I don't really want to talk.
Thank you very much for sharing. Another question we have is, any tips for overcoming guilt and allowing others to help when you've always found this difficult?
Tips for overcoming guilt. Overcoming guilt.
Yes, yeah. Any tips for overcoming guilt and allowing others to help when you've always found this difficult?
Okay. It's like saying you should take your own medicine. If it was you, you would offer. But let there be no guilt in that. If you were not in need, you would not be asking somebody to help in that. And what makes the world go around is you give today, tomorrow somebody else gives to you, and the next day somebody else gives to somebody else. And if that's a good cycle to have in terms of give and take and count yourself worthy, valuable to receive that because of where you are. No, no, don't feel guilty at all. It is time. And for a lot of people, by the time they are in the place to be in some need, they would have supplied lots of needs all along the path before. So it's just your time to receive. You cannot give without a receiver. And you cannot receive without a giver. So it is that kind of time to give and a time to receive. And it's just your time. You say thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody's shared a comment. When first diagnosed with advanced cancer, I coped well and thought I didn't have long left. It's only as it has gone on for nearly 2 years with weekly treatment that I find it has taken over my life, and I find it hard to know what the future holds. It is now a mental battle rather than a physical one.
And I'm not quite sure which bit of it is the mental bit, whether thinking you would not be here or understanding that you are here and that life really does need to be lived in that. So I'm not quite sure whether you meant the short time has gone on for a long time and it has taken over your life, but find little spaces. I hope you can find some spaces where you can just be you, do something that makes you feel like.
Thank you. I was diagnosed with stage 4 in February 22. I'm currently doing well, and I do try and help women who are struggling with the diagnosis and naturally a positive person. But sometimes it is really hard not to get down and worried for the future. What ways could I protect myself while still helping?
Helping is one of those attributes, if you like, that also helps a person who is in need. So that is also helping you and for yourself in those, whether they're down times or times of reality. Think about if you want to leave something of a legacy, a thought or a thing, for whom. And I always remember my brother when he was very ill, and still is, and he got his memory. So now we talk about making new memories. for him. So you might want to do something slightly different for your son, whilst still helping, and perhaps also taking some help from those, so that it becomes a kind of two-way street rather than just you helping them.
Thank you very much. Well, I think having looked through the chat box and our Q&A box, I think we've come to the end of our questions now. Thank you so much to you all for all of your questions and comments today. We really appreciate that. And a huge thank you to you again, Novelette, for your time today. For this webinar. I just wanted to say to everybody, if after you've reflected on the webinar today, if anything comes up, or if you want to talk anything through, please know that the support team are available. Our service is available Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m, as I said at the beginning, and I have popped the contact details in the chat box today, or you can find out more information on our website. So please do get in touch if anything comes to mind, or if you want to talk anything through. Thank you so much again, Novelette.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.